Did you know society may have shaped the wrong idea of what a healthy man should be? Hello and welcome to Health Digest, your go-to program for timely, relevant, factual and people-focused health conversations. I am Ukeme Etukwa. On the show today, we take you from groundbreaking genetic science to emerging health innovations that could transform dentistry as we know it. Yes, the cherry on the top is our session exploring masculine positivity and how that influences our well-being as a society. But first, let's begin with today's health news.
This year's global theme, Unmasking the Appeal, exposes how the tobacco industry intentionally designed products love first-time users and young people. In Port Harcourt, the Rivers State capital, health officials are warning that tobacco remains a top preventable cause of death. It is directly linked to fatal conditions like heart disease, stroke, and cancer.
In Rivers State, we recognize that protecting public health requires strong laws, effective enforcement, sustained public awareness, and collective action. The Rivers State government, ably led by Sir Siminalayi Fubara, DSSRS, through the Ministry of Health, remains committed to strengthening tobacco control measures, supporting public education initiatives, and working with stakeholders to create healthier and safer environments for all residents.
Beyond the medical toll, experts say the habit is draining family finances and overwhelming healthcare systems. Local residents are now being urged to reject the deceptive marketing of nicotine products and actively support smoke-free environments.
Out of every 5 Nigerian children between the ages of 13 and 52 are actually smoking, and that's a lot.
And advocate for healthier communities. Parents, teachers, religious leaders, and community influencers must play a greater role in educating young people about the dangers of tobacco use and nicotine addiction.
To combat the threat, Rivers State is currently collaborating with international partners to tighten tobacco control policies. The program focuses on expanding public protection against the dangers of secondhand smoke.
Nigeria's drive toward achieving universal health coverage has received a major boost as Africa's leading healthcare exhibition and conference, WHX Lagos 2026, gets underway this Wednesday in Lagos. The event brings together policymakers, healthcare professionals, investors, innovators, and solution providers from across the continent to explore practical solutions for strengthening healthcare delivery.
We need to build that ecosystem properly. We need to have those foundations for it. Why do people go out there? Over there, what do they have that we don't have? These are the things we need to look at again. Look at the context of the environment. You can have the technology. You need the people who will use the technology. You need to build local knowledge. You need to create that environment for people who are going to come here to feel free to do the work. And people who bring this in, they need money. They need to make their profit. So somehow or the other, the government has to create that enable environment for this to work.
So we need a digital infrastructure, a centralized digital infrastructure that connects all the dots so that a patient can move seamlessly from whether it's virtual care to physical care, from one facility A to facility B, with their record following them, where it is secure, where quality of care is preserved, and where there's privacy.
The conference comes at a critical time as Nigeria continues to face challenges related to the affordability, accessibility, and quality of healthcare services. Stakeholders say WHX Lagos 2026 provides an important platform for collaboration, innovation, and knowledge sharing aimed at improving health systems and patient outcomes.
One of the major issues that's coming to the fore is the technological infrastructure available in Nigeria. Power is still a challenge, and without this, there's a limit to how much you can sustainably provide these services. One of the things that we are also hammering on now is the need for partnership, the need for collaboration.
Now innovation is coming in. Before now, Nigeria used to use more of the analog type of systems But in over 5 to 10 years now, innovation is coming in. So you see, every hospital you go into, you see modernized equipment as well. They're using automated machines as well. So the health sector is really growing fast. It's really growing fast. I would think probably in the next 5 years, we'll catch up at a very high speed. But the health sector has really grown far from what it used to be.
High-level discussions at the conference are expected to focus on key areas including healthcare financing, workforce development, digital health transformation, public-private partnerships, and the expansion of healthcare infrastructure. Industry experts believe progress in these areas is crucial to closing existing gaps in healthcare delivery and ensuring that quality medical services reach underserved and vulnerable populations across the country. They also maintain that the conference presents a valuable opportunity to advance sustainable solutions that can accelerate Nigeria's universal health coverage agenda and improve healthcare access for millions of Nigerians.
Still ahead on the program, Health Digest, 2 major health developments making global headlines. A future medical checkup could involve swallowing a robot. That's correct. Scientists are developing microscopic robots that actually could deliver drugs and perform diagnostic tasks inside the digestive tract. Absolutely amazing, right? Now, according to the research published through the National Center for Biotechnology Information, NCBI, the technology could transform gastrointestinal care. That is correct. Now, in another breaking major development, measles outbreaks are resurging in several countries and declining immunization rates. According to the World Health Organization and UNICEF, growing vaccination gaps are threatening global progress towards measles elimination, prompting renewed calls for stronger routine childhood immunization programs. And it's a perfect time for us to get to our Outreach Edge, where we spotlight health initiatives making an impact closer to home. Stay tuned.
The kidneys are 2 bean-shaped organs located at the back of the abdomen. The major function is to filter waste and excess fluid from the blood, regulate blood pressure, and maintain the blood's balance of salt and minerals. But health experts say millions of people around the world are living with kidney disease, often without knowing it. Globally, about 850 million people are estimated to have some form of kidney disease, while millions die each year due to complications linked to the condition. However, in Nigeria, there is a staggering statistics, and experts say late diagnosis remains a major challenge, as many patients only seek medical help when the disease has progressed to kidney failure.
The old, the young are going through a lot. The financial aspect of it is demanding. If you don't have money to bring your patient, probably the person dies.
So it's not a disease that an individual can confront. That is why we are appealing to the government to come to our aid. Look at this hospital, Zenith Medical Center. Thank God, God brought people like this. If not, they would have been picking dead people on the road.
It's not been easy. My husband has been the one sponsoring the financial aspect of it. But currently, he has almost sold everything. And he's bankrupt at the moment.
To raise awareness and encourage early detection, the Zenith Medical and Kidney Center in Abuja organized free kidney screening and a public health lecture as part of activities marking World Kidney Day. Residents of the Federal Capital Territory turned out to check their kidney health and receive medical advice from specialists.
It is the fact that we want everybody to have access to kidney health. What does that really mean? Does it really mean dialysis and renal transplant? No. It actually talks about making sure that everybody has the knowledge as primordial prevention.
The medical director, Dr. Lalikon Latishe, warned that untreated hypertension and diabetes remain the leading causes of kidney damage, stressing that lifestyle choices and routine medical checks can help prevent the disease.
It's healthy habits, drinking of water, lots of water to make sure you're well hydrated. For those of us that are obese, we try to cut down on our weight We need to eat healthy, we need to exercise, we need to avoid non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, that's the painkillers that you know. We need to avoid herbal concoctions. There are a lot of herbal medications that people take from all kinds of places. We need to avoid them because quite a number of them are nephrotoxic to the kidneys. We need to avoid the use of bleaching creams, bleaching soaps. They all have issues with they contain heavy metals that can be a problem for the kidneys.
This year's theme, Kidney Health for All, caring for people, protecting the planet, highlights the need for better access to kidney care and stronger preventive health systems. Ogom Ezedimbo, AIT News, Abuja.
Still here on Health Digest, we move into Health Tech, our segment on remarkable future of medicine. Stay tuned for that one. Imagine going to the dentist, not for fillings or implants, but for a treatment that helps you grow a new tooth. It sounds like science fiction, but researchers are developing a breakthrough that could make that possible. According to Click Dental blog and research updates from Japan, scientists are testing treatments that may help regenerate human teeth naturally. The method targets a protein called USAG1, which normally blocks tooth growth. By inhibiting it, researchers believe dominant tooth-forming cells could be reactivated. Early studies and ongoing trials in Japan suggest the potential to stimulate new tooth growth, especially for people with missing teeth. While still in early development and not yet available for public use, experts say it could reshape the future of dentistry. Welcome right back. Next, we have our chat with the expert segment, and then we turn to a conversation around masculine positivity and the well-being, a growing conversation around how men can express strength, vulnerability, identity, and emotions in a healthy and more balanced way. Also, they will be filling in the gaps and stepping in the gaps of women to see and promote masculine positivity. And now, let's hear from our everyday men. Mr. Leslie White, please tell me how long you've been a father for before we get into some of the activities.
Okay, I've been a father for 2 years now, and I would say it has been really interesting.
That's a good word.
Yes.
We'll leave it at interesting. We'll get to know more.
Yes.
Mr. Oba, so you tell us what you're going to be doing here.
Okay, I'm an activist for men's mental health, advocacy for men's mental health.
And we had a little bit of a conversation behind the scenes, and you made some really interesting points. You want a set of twins.
Yeah, a set of twins.
Interesting,
yes.
Lovely. And we have with us Mr. Sam Tech. Please tell us who you are and how you fit into this.
My name is Samuel, and I'm a journalist and let's say media man, and I've been a father for 6 months. Biologically, I've been a father for 6 months. But if I should remove the word biologically, I've been a father for like 3 years.
Your nephews do not count. Your nieces do not count because it's a totally different experience. So before we get your experiences and your expert advice, because Mr. Oba here also has a background in psychology, so he'll be giving us the professional perspectives. Please kindly get up. We're going to be looking at postpartum care as well as pregnancy and what role fathers and men can play. So first things first, I'll need you guys to get up. And remember, as pregnant women, you're probably in your 3rd trimesters. So please kindly get up without killing or affecting your baby.
Okay.
Without holding anything. Oh. You can't hold the chair.
Oh, okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. Please do know that if your baby comes out before time in any what way, you have terminated your child. So you have to be very careful, and you are not allowed to adjust the positions. As you know, you can't actually adjust the position of a baby. So first things first, I'll have you touch your toes without bending and affecting or popping your makeshift baby right now. Let's go.
Okay.
Touch your toes. Your baby is bending. Find a way to touch your toes. You have to bend down. You have to bend down. All right.
Okay.
We can see an experienced father. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I'm going to need you to do a few exercises. By the way, you haven't slept in about a long time and you can't sleep on your back anymore. So I'm going to need you to stretch your hands left and right without hurting your baby. Stretches? Now touch your toes again, left to right like you would. I don't want to see your babies being squeezed, if not you're affecting your child. Let's go. Your baby seems to be losing its original position. Your baby is losing. All right. Without sitting down, what's going on, Mr. Alba? You can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Without bending your knees, without bending your knees. Without bending your knees, let's go. Without bending your knees. I can see a father of twins has a level of experience. Without bending your knees, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Without bending your knees. Now let's take it up a notch, a little bit more faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster without bending your knees. Let's go. 1, 2, exercise. You know, you're going to give this baby out soon, so you need to stretch. You're bending your knees. You're going to hurt your baby. Let's go. I can hear sounds. You're hurting your baby. Oh my goodness. You're going into early labor as we speak. I really hope your child is happy. All right, thank you so much for that. I'd love you to take a seat as a pregnant person would. All right, we're going to start with Mr. Samuel. How was that experience, putting yourself into a pregnant woman's shoes and having to do the most basic activities while actually thinking about the life that you are nursing and your child's health?
To be honest, it is very hard.
Why is it hard?
You don't have the ability to move freely. You have the ability to move freely. Like stretching this period, I play football, so I stretch a lot, but with this, I can't. So I'm just, it's totally just very hard. It's something, somehow, if to be honest, I'm now thinking, if I'm a woman, will I really want to get pregnant?
Food for thought. All right, we're going to go to the next father here. How was the exercise so far? I've also noticed that your baby bump has moved in a lot of positions from its original state.
It's intact.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So tell me the experience so far.
The experience, it's number one, I would say it's more like a sacrifice because this is really heartwarming and touching because seeing this exercise and, you know, a woman go through all this, imagining my wife, you know, when in the past years, you know, with the whole experience, now I can feel what she felt.
Wow. And our psychologist who also wants twins, what are your thoughts? This is just one child in here, by the way, so the twins you're looking for is going to be definitely heavier.
To be honest, it's a tedious process. Just for like 5 to 10 minutes, feeling this tired compared to someone that's actually going to do this for like 9 months thereabouts. You know, it's a huge sacrifice.
Wow, that's quite interesting. One last health update before we head to Truth Lab. The World Health Organization has raised its national risk assessment for the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo to very high. The warning that the disease is spreading rapidly in affected areas, and the World Health Organization says intensified surveillance, treatment, and community response efforts are critical to containing the outbreak as well as preventing its transmissions. Stay connected with us and beyond the broadcast just by simply following our social media handles shown right on the screen. But if you want, I will mention it for you. It's Ukeme on air across all our social media platforms for health news, features, exclusives, and more. Now, let's shift focus to our next segment, Truth Lab. Stay tuned. DNA, a tiny but powerful part of our cells that hold clues to our maternal ancestry. According to the National Human Genome Research Institute, the National Institute of Health, the DNA is passed down from mother to all her children, both sons and daughters. But there is an important twist in how this genetic line continues. While both sons and daughters inherit this DNA, only daughters pass it on to the next generation. This means that through daughters, a continuous maternal genetic thread is preserved and carried towards across generations. Scientists often use this DNA to trace ancestry, study inherited diseases, and even map patterns of human migration across thousands of years. Because it mutates slowly over time, it also serves as a kind of biological record, helping researchers understand where we come from and how populations have evolved. So, in simple terms, while both sons and daughters receive their mother's mitochondrial DNA, it is daughters who continue the genetic line into the future. And that's our program today. From the future of regenerative health technology to conversations on wholesome masculinity, we continue to explore the ideas shaping the future of medicine and your well-being. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Health Digest today. Our aim is always to inform. And as you know, stay blessed and not stressed. I am Ukeme Etokwa. Bye-bye for now.
Anna Jufo runs her multiple e-commerce businesses in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Her business is known as drop shipping, a business model where products are sold online without the need for a so-called brick-and-mortar facility where those products are stored and processed. It involves the management of e-commerce inventory and affiliate marketing, where she promotes online products for other businesses. Ajufo started her online business in 2022 with less than $50.
Okay, let's say I started with 50,000 naira. So today I can tell you the percentage has increased to over 150% of income coming in from the business.
Ajufo's success story has its roots in access to the internet, a good phone, social media, and spending around $6 a month on a data subscription.
When it comes to showcasing my business online, internet access has done most of it, 80% of it. Without the internet, we won't be able to do any of those things.
And for many, like Ajufo, the internet means more income and opportunity. A January 2024 World Bank report discloses that Sub-Saharan Africa recorded a 115% increase in internet users between 2016 and 2021. This, the bank said, also reduced extreme poverty by 7% in Nigeria, fostering economic growth and innovation.
Opportunities abound in terms of the benefit for e-commerce, benefit for e-health, benefit for e-government, and as well as in terms of basic commercial transactions.
Despite the gains, the World Bank says women in Sub-Saharan Africa have less access to the internet compared to men. The report also says women are 37% less likely to use mobile internet services than men, and that women in rural communities are affected most by the lack of digital access.
Once they cannot have, once means of, accessing the internet or data becomes much out of their reach, they become deprived. In fact, they become deprived educationally, they become deprived in terms of skills, and once all of these things, they become deprived in terms of having access to basic information about markets, about services, about even how to improve them. And once that is done, because then they become left behind.
Rural women in Sub-Saharan Africa earn about 77% less than men, while urban women earn 46% less, according to data from the U.S. National Library of Medicine.
Quite a number of women, particularly in rural Nigeria, cannot afford the cost of basic smartphone or feature phone.
The Nigerian Communications Commission says it has launched projects to close the country's gender digital gap. Among them are the Digital Skills for Women and Girls Initiative, Nigerian Girls Can Code, and Women in ICT. Experts say there is a need to double these efforts. They suggest the government ramps up grassroots access to internet-enabled devices at affordable rates to get more women on board. For Gibson Amika in Abuja, Nigeria, Mary Alice Salinas, VOA News.
What if I told you that on an ordinary Sunday, the pulse of modern Africa comes alive? From city life, creativity, and future living, all in one place. Music in the air, flavors that hit, and energies that you certainly can't fake. Welcome to Main Street Sundays. This is where the city trays out all the traffic for culture. From streetwear, and also not forgetting that street food that will have you saying just one more bite. This is Johannesburg, certainly in its element. It's bold, it's vibrant, and it's certainly full of soul. But before we explore the streets, let's give you a glimpse as to what you can expect in this episode. Have you ever wondered how the African drum sound is made from scratch? Well, Samson is in Benin to find out. Our Dream Home series brings big views and clean lines in a home on the southern tip of Africa that's serving coastal calm. From all-female crews to matatus that double as rolling masterpieces, we see how Kenya turned graffiti into culture. My name is Itumeleng Khosikhadia Khabanda, and you're watching Afrimax. Now, this is not the Lusaka that you think you know. Kapula Simbala literally dives into 5 levels of pure adventure, pushing limits, chasing thrills, and at some point, literally running for her life. It's bold, it's unexpected, and certainly something that you do not want to miss.
Everyone says Lusaka is for hustle.
but I'm here to prove we've got the wild side that will make your heart race faster.
5 levels, 1 mission. I test Lusaka's wildest experiences.
Level 1, hiking. Whether it's the raggedy trails of the Lusaka National Park or the scenic paths of Tiffany Canyon, hiking is the ultimate flex of health.
It's low stress, but high impact. It builds grit, improves cardiovascular endurance, and connects you to the real Zambia without needing a 4x4.
So this makes your blood run real fast and your heart pump faster.
Hiking is our warm-up, but it gets wild from here. Level 2 raises the adrenaline fast.
If you want to level up, there's something about ziplining at a gazillion miles per hour that hits differently.
Level 2, ziplining. In the new Zambia, we aren't just looking at the ceiling. We're treating it like a suggestion. Gravity? What's that?
You really never get used to ziplining. The adrenaline rush is crazy, but it's exciting. I love it. Okay, heart rate is up, but now we're about to get serious. Tiffany's Canyon is not just about the pretties. Level 3 is about strategic patience. Thank you. Right now we're putting on the armor of God. Aaron, we need to hide, right?
I did that! You did this. Paintball slows the pace down, but slow focus turns into real danger.
Dodging paint is one thing. Thank you. But now we're moving to the real thing. Welcome. Thank you very much, sir. And with Chaminuka, on to the next one. But for this particular one, I need to be all covered up, and you will see why.
Level 5, the absolute limit. I'm at Kalimba Farm Reptile Park, winding myself up to carry a python. Yes, you heard that right. Smart girls play hard, right? They say it. It will be fun, they say it. Let's find out.
It's opening its eyes.
Yeah, that's good. So I want it to make sure it doesn't open. Then you have to smile. You have to keep it in your mouth.
Yes, there we go. I've hiked, I have flown, and I have survived the cheetahs, but the snake, that's where I draw the line. My heart is wired, my heart is peak. Catch you on the trail.
Now, there's something really exciting happening in the heart of Joburg. And trust me, it's not what you expect. Joining me right now is Dawn Robertson, who is one of the key forces behind Josie My Josie. This is an initiative and a movement that is getting people to reimagine how we experience the city. Now, Dawn, first of all, let's start with, we are in Joburg CBD. Can you believe it? You talk about Main Street Sundays, right? And you said this is the education hub. So for those who don't know Main Street Sundays, what are they mainly about?
So this is Main Street Sundays, and it's part of what we're calling our Open Street Initiative. So this is really a big experiment, a tactical experiment to prove to the city that we can close off streets to cars and taxis and invite people to come back to the streets. You're too young to remember, but those of us that are older know that we played in the streets. We came home when the street lights came on. Kids today don't get that opportunity, so that's why we wanted to draw as many kids into the city, get them to ride their bikes and skates and to rollerblade in the streets, and really about getting community. I mean, look at this. Where do you find people sitting silently reading in the middle of the city?
Well, thank you so much, Dawn. I look forward to exploring, but I'd like you to show me around.
Let's go.
From hands that carve to beats that travel across the continent, Africa's heartbeat certainly lives within every single drum. Rooted in tradition, but also echoing beyond its origins, this is where sound becomes soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, kick off those high heels because we are about to embrace the African dance. Today, I've got two incredible hustlers. One is a percussionist.
My name is Unga Cecile. I'm a member of Pepitat. I'm a percussionist and dancer.
And the other is a drum maker.
My name is Ahuan Bueke Isaac. I make drums.
This is my hustle.
In Africa, we say you can't dance without a drum. So I access it to take me to a famous drum maker in Benin Republic.
If you want to try this craft, the first tool we use for shaping is this one. We call it Hanvi Achue. The second tool is called Akun. No matter what type of drum you are making, you will need this tool to make holes in the wood. The tool is very important for shaping the drum. We call it Hanvi Nuk Paton.
Guys, it's so unfortunate I cannot try this out. How I wish I can do it, but according to their tradition, a stranger is not allowed to use all these tools.
Sam, this is what we use to scratch the drum's body. We don't use sandpaper. No matter what kind of drum it is, we use this to clean its body.
Wow,
Can you see how smooth it is now? After putting on the leather, we place the drum back in the sun. We soak the leather in water to make it soft. Once it's soft, we attach it to the drum and we put it back in the sun to dry.
To make a drum takes a lot of process, from carving the wood to getting the animal leather. And thereafter, they take it to the market and people like Pepit App come to buy the drum. Wow, you've got so many drums here.
Yes.
Now tell me, what name do you call this one?
It is Pavle.
Pavle?
Yes.
And this one?
Pavle.
Pavle?
Same drums is Pavle.
Nice one. And this one?
No, this.
Wow. Now tell me, what does it take to be a percussionist?
All you need is the desire, the enthusiasm, and the passion to become a percussionist, as this is where you learn the skills. There is no requirement to have prior experience. Even if you've never played before, we will guide you in learning how to play.
Guys, it's not easy to be a drummer. This guy is trying. What kind of event do you guys normally attend?
We have performed several shows in France.
In France.
We went to Dubai for Expo 2020. We went to Germany, specifically to Bayreuth, and we participated in the Mask Festival in Porto Novo and the Vodun Days Festival in Ouidah last January.
Is this your also profitable?
Yes.
It's profitable because, first of all, when we are invited for festivals as artists, and in order to avoid any issues, we are given money. And the money is not for our supervisors to take and use. No. Our travel, our tickets, we do not use our own money to pay for this. We use the money for these shows to pay for the visa, plane ticket, suitcases, food, and everything.
I can see that you guys have a lot of young people among your team. And how do you guys balance your education and your profession?
Our schooling is also funded by the Pepitat Center. Each year we receive study aids to help us perform well in school, including supplies and other resources. So they help and support us.
You dance so good. So I'm wondering, wondering, how do you manage to twist your body like this?
It's normal because I've been learning to dance and sing for 6 years. I've always learned it here.
Wow. So guys, as the great African proverb says, when the drum beats, the art dances. And when the art dances, the spirit is free.
Roland from Young Urbanists is reimagining the way in which cities are designed. They're advocating for inclusivity, shared streets, and also just the way in which things are actually done within the city. Roland, first of all, it's amazing to be here, to be walking around. How much closer are we to getting to a city that is shared and designed with people in mind?
Long way to go, but we have to start. Yes, there's potholes in our roads, but we actually think beyond potholes. We're rethinking what roads are for to show that how we can make streets like Main Street safer, but of course, how do we make the whole city safer?
Well, Bob, first of all, let's talk about the excitement of the city trading out traffic for culture.
Well, I'm not a big fan of traffic because I'm a cyclist. So the more traffic we can get rid of and open spaces like this for people to come in and have the freedom is fantastic for me.
And finally, the best thing about being here today.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Like, let us have fun and let us meet new people, you know? That is the only thing that I'm here for, by the way. Yeah. Thank you.
Time now for Dream Homes, where my colleague Balisa Dembe steps into a home out in Hermanas. This home has spaces, views, and design that definitely inspires.
Across Africa, incredible homes are raising the bar of modern design. This series gives you a front row seat to unapologetically stylish spaces. The kind you can't help but save, screenshot, and dream about. Who said a holiday home has to play it casual? Swap city life for a coastal escape like this, and suddenly leaving on a Sunday feels optional. Palesa Tembe is in Pringle Bay, exploring a gorgeous seaside retreat designed by Mark Anthony Hewson of Lim. This home proves that holiday living can still deliver full-blown luxury. With its entertainment spaces placed high to soak up the ocean views, this home saves the best for last. And as we head upstairs, the design starts to unfold, one stunning space at a time.
So here we've reached the main living space, which is where all the action happens. It's such a wonderful, homely space.
Mark, thank you so much for inviting me out. Tell me about this project.
So the client brief was to take a very sad, dated house. The structure existed, but it was quite pokey, where there were little low ceilings. There was literally one bathroom for 4 bedrooms, which was ridiculous, and a lot of unused space in the home. So we took everything, we stripped it right back down.
Tell me about the layout of the home.
On 3 levels, on the Dune Reserve, which overlooks the ocean. But what's lovely is when you come from the street, it's quite imposing, and it seems to project itself out of the dune and out of the fynbos around it. So as you come in, there's a lovely little foyer area, which leads off into a beautiful workspace, which is perfectly kitted out for working from home. As you meander, there's through the central staircase, you get to the 2nd level, which is a lovely haven where you can retreat. The bedrooms are all separated from the rest of the living space. And then you meander up the staircase again to this wonderful, expansive living space where everyone enjoys themselves and has a great time.
This is the home's main hangout. Big, open, but cleverly zoned so everyone can do their own thing. Oversized sofas, serious TV vibes, and just the right amount of winter coziness make it perfect for misty Pringle Bay days and long binge sessions.
stepping into the kitchen, I'm immediately attracted by that dusty green and the brass details.
Yes, so you'll see that like sort of silvery, sagey green is a common thread that runs throughout the whole home. And we wanted something with this kitchen to be a little bit more on the bold side, which is quite exciting. So lots of natural timbers, and then the brass hardware is just something that'll just patina beautiful over age and adds that sort of metallic element to the space.
The kitchen flows straight out to the braai deck, with stacking windows that slide open, turning cooking into a full-on social event. Easy chats, shared plates, and zero barriers.
So you see we're now in the dining space, but what we've done is we've tried to sort of bleed the kitchen out so it's not so compartmentalized into the rest of the living space by linking it with a beautiful cabinet there filled with glassware. And you'll see behind us also that green, that lovely green that you love so much, continues into this dining area.
And Mark, leading up the stairs, I caught a glimpse of that gorgeous passageway leading to the bedrooms. It creates a resort, relaxed feel.
We wanted to try and create the bedroom area of the home, sort of like a retreat, something that was quite separate from the rest of the living space. It's, you know, somewhere where you can go, be quiet, and just reflect on and relax.
The bedrooms peel off the central spine, and with every step, the vibe softens. Muted tones, layered textures, and all the feels comfort gives every room, including the master, that calm, cocooned energy. Smart planning turns one bathroom into a run of en-suites, all linked through some fabulous materials. This home is proof that beach living can be effortless and still surprise you. It's the kind of holiday home where everything just clicks. The layout, the mood, the details. This is design that doesn't need drama to impress. So, weekend getaway or forever home?
Often synonymous with city is graffiti. Colette Prince has handpicked some Kenyan artists who are not just turning streets into galleries, but they're actually making a real difference.
Think graffiti is just paint on walls? Think again. In Kenya, it's loud, bold, and it means something more. Let's check it out. Coming in at number 3, the Graffiti Girls, an all-female crew using street art to speak up, stand out, and own the streets.
For us as Graffiti Girls, painting gives us a voice. And who better to paint issues that affect women than women themselves, than girls themselves?
This isn't just graffiti. It's showing what's really happening in these communities.
Things that we like to address are things like social justice, voicing out issues of, again, gender-based violence, because it still exists. And as women, we go through it a lot. And as women, we love to have the pleasure of painting about it.
But what sparked the Graffiti Girls?
Why there was a need to form Graffiti Girls, we were all male writers, graffiti artists. And then there were too many issues socially affecting women in Kenya. Young women artists can come, like a safe space to my classes, and I could teach both graffiti art, how to use spray paint, the medium of spray paint as a tool to paint.
The Graffiti Girls' stories and voices are hitting the streets hard.
The message that we want to put out is empowerment, especially in communities where that doesn't really exist.
From painting the streets to driving the culture, because in Nairobi, even the buses are a canvas. At number 2, it's matatus.
The feeling is so thrilling, as compared to other types of matatus. When you board a matatu which has a lot of graffiti and the crew is fun and the music is loud, and considering I'm a young person, that's what we young people like.
Matatus are easily the coolest ride on the streets. And this is Brian Wanyama, aka Graph. He's putting the spotlight on the world of matatus.
Through showcasing the matatus, I feel like it's a really good way of
being an ambassador of Kenya, because first of all, we get to showcase the art, we get to showcase even the lifestyle behind it, and this brings fulfillment.
Graf's also an award-winning creative. He works with teams to turn these rides into rolling artworks.
In terms of collaborations, we usually work with the graffiti artists and also graphic designers in terms of developing concepts within the creative arts industry. Graffiti really plays a big role because it's the first thing you'll get to see when a matatu approaches you, or when you see a video or even a picture of a matatu. The matatu industry solidifies Kenya's identity by the art that we showcase. It's something that is unique, not just in Africa, but throughout the world. And it also provides a very huge market for youth employment.
And at number 1, a name you can't ignore, the godfather of graffiti in Nairobi, Bankslave.
I use it as a voice. I use it as a tool just to communicate or just to bring a dialogue to the world or anyone else who wants to view this piece of work and probably get inspiration out of it. So it's important for me because I can inspire people with it.
And he totally slaps, a master of graffiti, but his journey must have started somewhere.
I studied fine art for my 3 years there. We used to go out and do graffiti gigs, and this was more impactful because it's in the streets and there's more audience than when you have it in a gallery where the audience might be not as much as it is in the streets.
Bankslave's work isn't just striking, it also carries meaning, from murals of presidents to athletes, and powerful tributes in moments of tragedy, like after the horrific terrorist attack on this mall in Kenya, when he painted a living piece of artwork around a drainpipe.
This is the place that I painted the Westgate piece. It was here on this trench.
The work is gone now. Street art isn't made to last, but that's a part of the story.
For an artist, when you're painting on a wall, you don't have the expectation that this piece will stay a long time because most of them are not your walls. So we just come onto this wall and just put our magic there.
In Kenya, street art is more than just art. It lives, breathes, and demands attention. That's what we at Afrimax call Seriously Cool.
So from the flavors to the beats, Main Street Sundays is the perfect reminder that the heartbeat of the city is not in its traffic, but rather within its people. So the next time that the streets open up, make sure that you come through, you feel the vibe, and you're incorporated within the story.
Hello and welcome. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the program. I am Nancy Naji. Imagine for a moment that you're an investor sitting in London, New York, or Johannesburg looking at Nigeria. The numbers on the screen will tell you an encouraging story. More than $10 billion flowed into the country in just the first 3 months of this year. Foreign capital is returning, investors' interest is rising. The financial markets are buzzing because, of course, if you watched the program yesterday, you would have seen my conversation with the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission. And, of course, he said it's a market at about market capitalization in excess of over 150 trillion naira. So if you're an investor in London and you're seeing this, you will say, oh, that the economy is booming. But now, imagine your Nigerian family, which we all have families, sitting around our dinner tables. For people that have, you're sitting at your dinner table tonight, or even this morning. Your questions are very different. Can you afford rent? Is your neighborhood safe? The topic about insecurity is everywhere. No one is safe now. Are your children getting a good education? Is there reliable electricity? And is life actually getting better? That contrast is at the heart of today's program. On one side, Nigeria is attracting billions of dollars in capital inflows with portfolio investment underlined. Portfolio investment accounting for overwhelming majority of the money coming into the economy. On the other side, a new quality of life report is challenging long-held assumptions about where Nigerian families are thriving, revealing that factors such as safety, affordability, healthcare, education, and electricity may matter more than income alone. Kano and Rivers State topped the rankings. Perhaps surprising, while many of the country's biggest urban centers continue to grapple with high cost of living and quality of life pressures. So what do these two stories tell us about Nigeria? Is foreign capital translating into real improvements in the lives of citizens? And how should policymakers measure success in an economy where growth figures and lived experiences often tell different stories? To help us make sense of what I have just said, I'll be joined firstly by Tajuddin Ibrahim, Director of Research and Strategy at Chapel Hill Denham, and David Olujimi, Analyst at SBM Intelligence. So I'll be having two conversations today. And as always, I want you to be part of the conversation. Follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done that yet. Please do that right away. Moneyline with Nancy TV for exclusive interviews and for in-depth analysis, as always, and episodes on demand. Now, before I get into all of these important conversations, let me bring you up to speed with a few stories making headlines today. First, the Central Bank of Nigeria has increased the foreign exchange remittance limit for tuition payments by Nigerian students studying abroad from $15,000 to $25,000 per semester. The new guideline contained in the 4th edition of the FX manual is part of efforts to improve transparency and confidence in the foreign exchange market. The CBN said eligible students can process payments through authorized dealer banks subject to the required documentation. Still with the Central Bank of Nigeria, it has issued new foreign exchange guidelines allowing individuals to travel with up to $50,000 in cash, provided the amount is declared at the point of exit. The CBN retained the existing rule that up to $10,000 can be carried without declaration. Under the new guidelines, any amount above $50,000 must be supported with evidence of procurement through an authorized dealer bank. Nigeria's manufacturing sector recorded a sharp a drop in foreign capital inflows in the first quarter of 2026, attracting $152 million, down 51% from the previous quarter. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics shows the sector accounted for 1.47% of total capital importation. Despite the decline, inflows were higher than the same period last year, as overall capital importation rose to $10.37 billion, driven mainly by portfolio investment. All right, let's take a look at the markets very quickly and see how the markets shaped up yesterday and how it's taken off today, at least for some markets that have started trading. For the Nigerian markets, we saw that, of course, the market started trading at 9. Closing time is 4. New adjustment came in just a few weeks ago. There's a T+1 settlement cycle now at the exchange. So if you an investor, you should be happy with that news. But let's take a look at the numbers you're seeing on the screen. It was a cautious day across global markets as investors juggled monetary policy, geopolitical tensions, and key economic data. Here in Nigeria, for the system liquidity, that's the global market updates now. We're talking about the money market. The liquidity remained robust at over 4 trillion naira, while the Treasury bill yield moved higher at the latest auction, signaling strong demand but also higher return expectations. And for investors, the naira weakened slightly to 1,358 naira to the US dollar on Thursday, while the all-share index of the NGX closed lower as profit taking, of course, weighed in on sentiment. If we take a look at other markets across the world, the United States declined ahead of highly anticipated jobs reports, while European markets traded lower in early trade this morning amid a global sell-off in technology shares. We're seeing that Asia saw sharp losses, with South Korea's Kospi plunging more than 5%. That's what you're seeing right here. While Japan, Hong Kong, China also closed in the negative territory. But for commodities, oil prices remained under pressure as hopes for a lasting Middle East peace deal faded, while gold prices headed for a weekly loss as inflation and interest rate concerns continue to shape investors' sentiment. So that's your global market wrap. Just a quick one for you to give you update. Let's take a break, and when we come back, my first guest will be joining me, Tajuddin Ibrahim, who is the Director of Research and Strategy at Chapel Hill, Denham. We'll be talking about, is it hot money that is coming into Nigeria, or what else? More when we return. Do stay. Nancy, and this is a program that sets your business day for
inflation played a 9-1 on us, and the cost of doing business and the cost of living crisis persists. But we can win. We can win on those two things.
We need to work on our infrastructure, maintain what we have, and add new infrastructure. Isn't it interesting to you that it still costs less to ship something from China to Lagos than from Dakar to Nigeria?
Resilience is not only bouncing back when there is crisis or shocks. Resilience is about the ability to adapt, the ability to innovate, the ability to thrive in a VUCA world, which is basically a world that we have a lot of vulnerabilities, a world that we have a lot of uncertainty.
Thank you, Nancy. You've been doing a great job in trying to educate Nigerians, and we must appreciate you for that.
Everybody tells me you're the gold standard in this business, yeah.
More Nancy Naji, for the best you can be, but that change. All right, welcome back. My first guest is online right now. I I think he's joining us from Lagos. Tajuddin Ibrahim is the Director of Research and Strategy at Chapel Hill, Denham. Hello, Tajuddin. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for having me on the program today.
All right, let's delve right in. The capital importation report for the Q1 of this year, that's the first 3 months of this year. I alluded to it during my intro. Nigeria recorded $10.37 billion in capital importation. Please explain to our viewers what this data actually means, primarily so that we can take it from there. And it's the highest figure in recent years so far. Would you attribute that the surge that we saw in the first 3 months of this year to a structural shift, or what I would call a cyclical spike? So explanation first, then you answer the second question.
Okay, so what we mean by capital importation is the volume and the value of capital that foreign investors are, bringing to the Nigerian economy to make investments. Such investments could be in form of foreign direct investment. It could be in form of foreign portfolio investment. It could as well be in form of other investments that are not FDI in nature or that are not FPI in nature. Naturally speaking, foreign direct investments sit a lot more in a country. They are more like long-term capital in nature, and those are the ones that we, naturally speaking, as a country should be looking to attract. And foreign portfolio investments are those that are short-term in nature. They are what we can describe as hot money. They come in and they stay in the economy not for a long term. They rather stay over a short-term period, and they easily can exit. So, having explained what capital importation means in that regard, I believe the next thing to speak to is to highlight the fact that the capital importation reported for the first quarter of 2026 is the highest ever since the reporting of the capital importation number. At least on a quarterly basis, we have the number coming in at $10.37 billion. That is the first time that we are seeing the quarterly capital importation number coming in double digits at well over $10 billion. Another thing to flag also is that the foreign portfolio investment came in at $9.8 billion in the first quarter of this year. That is also the highest ever that the country has reported on a quarterly basis. The next thing to flag is the money market component of the capital importation happens to come in at $6.5 billion, which is the highest ever. Also that we are seeing Nigeria reporting in one quarter. So this element or these numbers, they flew in largely because we have robust interest rate environment, or let me say an interest rate environment that is more compelling compared to what is obtainable in the US and in the other advanced economies across the world. Naturally speaking, portfolio investors are always shopping around the world to look for where they can get more compelling returns on a short-term basis. So Nigeria is one of such destinations where they are getting significantly higher returns compared to what is obtainable in advanced economies such as the US and the UK.
Okay, so Tajuddin, should we really be celebrating? Because if at first glance the numbers look impressive, 95% of those inflows are portfolio investments, and I must say that only 1.3% is FDI. What that FDI means is that investors that are supposed to be building factories, infrastructure, building businesses. Rather, we're seeing short-term investors chasing yields and exchange arbitrage there. So Should we be celebrating, though that the number is the highest in recent years? That's one. Then the second thing is the composition of these inflows that we've seen so far. What does it tell us about the international perception of economic reforms? International perception in the sense that, okay, Nigeria's economic reforms have, at least the fuel subsidy and exchange rates reforms. We can come in here, the capital market is buzzing and all of that, but it's not a place where we can really do business, build factories and co.
So we have to look at it from the standpoint of what investment have we also made locally to attract foreign direct investment into the country. We don't seem as a country to have made the right or the expected level of investment to attract foreign direct investment into the country. Rather, we have in recent years seen a reversal, a capital reversal on the foreign direct investment leg, where the likes of Procter & Gamble and also GlaxoSmithKline, left this country and stopped manufacturing their products in Nigeria, despite the fact that they are still selling the product in the country. They stopped manufacturing. It is because we do not have the right level of infrastructure. And I give you an interesting example. According to the United Nations, development,
trade and development. Yes.
According to UNCTAD, the top 10 countries by foreign direct investment include the US, Singapore, Hong Kong, among others. And the reality actually is that these countries are also among the top countries in the world when you talk about electricity generation. So it means that investors globally will go and settle down and build manufacturing plants or assets where they can find the required infrastructure to support their business. And electricity is one of the major infrastructure or amenities to put in place in this case. All of us, Nigerians know where we are with respect to power supply in the country and utilization and also the pricing.
So are you saying that we shouldn't? Yes, I understand what you're saying. So I don't know if you've answered my question. I get where you're coming from, that we've not committed so much to infrastructural development. So should we go dancing? Because of $10 billion, out of that $10 billion, $9-point-something billion is hot money coming into the country, and just a paltry sum of $135 million is for foreign investment, and that foreign direct investment. That foreign direct investment is supposed to create jobs in the country. So we shouldn't go to the party. Yes, we shouldn't go to the party dancing. The other thing I also wanted to say is that if we are seeing this kind of portfolio money coming into the country, both of us do know that portfolio money can leave as fast as it arrives. So at what point does this headline number, $10 billion, become a vulnerability for us?
So let's look at from two standpoints, right? The first standpoint, or even three perspectives. The first perspective is what I have given, which is around the FDI. So we should be bothered that our FDI is just about 1-point-something% of the entire capital that flew into the country. It is a cause for worry. But, we understand why we are not there yet. I've given that reason. The second thing to focus on is, should we be dancing on the, over $10 billion capital importation in terms of foreign portfolio investment? We may not be dancing, but at least it is something that, is worthy to reckon with. Because
no, it's not worthy to reckon with, Tajuddin. If you also take a look at the report, it's because I have the report in front of me, and that's what I'm staring at. 1.3, yes.
What if that money did not come in? What happens?
For the kind of size of the economy that we've had, it's not that it's also good. If you also take a look at the amount of money that came in, $135 million, do you also realize that is down 62% from the prior quarter? Do you realize that too?
Look at it.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And for the fact that you asked me a question, though I asked the question here on the program, but let me also answer you, because I'm looking at the numbers now. For that size, $135 million, what does it also say for a country that has over 200 million people as population? Our country's size, that's a very thin number. And down 62%. I needed to know that.
I agree with you. If you are looking at the FDI, I think I have addressed that. It is not something that we should be happy with, and it is something that we have to work on. But the reality about it is that this country does not look like it is ready, to deliver on that objective, and we know what to do. But I reckon the fact that we are not seeing much commitment on the part of the government is a major, source of concern. And I believe also that, the government alone cannot solve that problem. And this is where we need the collaboration, between the government and the private sector. Private sector investment has to be involved in the process.
Private sector invest without what you just said? Because you actually did mention earlier on that foreign investors or foreign direct investors will not come except things are in place. It's the same thing that local investors should also looking at.
Let's look at one of the major or the largest local investor in this country, Dangote Refinery. Dangote installed all of the required electricity.
He did it himself. But how many people are Dangote? How many people are Dangote now? How many people have that access to the finance? How many people have access to the president? How many people have access to the corridors of power? That if Dangote sneezes, the rest of Nigeria catches a cold.
That is where the downside is, and that is where the government comes in.
And that is why the government should create more Dangotes and more Elumelus. Since Obasanjo, we have not seen those numbers of billionaires created any longer. And it should worry us, but that's a topic for another day that I will handle.
Absolutely agree, yes. But the reality also is that, we need the private sector to also stand up and demonstrate willingness, to be part of the growth and development of the country. Okay. We have seen Dangote as an example. He's not the only one. We have other...
Yes, and they are doing well. Yes, you can't take it from them. At least in the midst of the challenges.
So we need that collaboration. We need that collaboration to ensure that, we get to where we need to be. For the foreign portfolio investments, we should not be dancing, but the reality is that it is not a bad development. And I say that because we could as well have seen much lower level of foreign portfolio investments. So when you have much lower foreign portfolio investment, it is not good for your country either. So what we have seen is a situation where, we just have to keep our interest rates relatively elevated at the current level of about 26.5% for the monetary policy rate. And when you look at OMO instrument, that is the open market operation papers, that is what most of these foreign investors are buying. You can get a yield of around 22% there. So when you look at that 22% across the world, Nigeria arguably has the highest yield on short-dated instruments. Even on long-dated instruments, we have the highest yield when you look across the world. So foreign investors will find this place a good destination for investment. And bear in mind also that we have seen the stability of the currency since about a year or thereabouts now. So that stability is what they are pricing in and what is also attracting them. Stability not alone, also we are seeing an improvement in liquidity flows in the FX market. With the improvement we are seeing in liquidity flows, it means the foreign investors are a lot more comfortable to bring in their capital, invest for like a year or thereabouts, and they have a lot more certainty that they will be able to repatriate capital out of the country because of the improvements that we have seen in the FX markets. Don't forget, that improvement is coming on the back of reforms by the central bank, in this case. So the reform they embarked upon is helping to solve that problem, to ensure that we have an improvement in transparency in the FX market, an improvement in liquidity flows, to the extent that the intervention of the CBN has also slowed down significantly in the FX market, because we are seeing supply from the exporters of crude oil and other exporters. We are seeing supply into the market from the foreign portfolio investors, and the combination of that effect is making more manufacturing companies in the country to have more access to FX, to import raw materials into the country for the production of their products. This is something that we were lacking, or we did not have adequate like 3-4 years ago. So those are the directions that we can look at and say, okay, maybe the development we are seeing is not necessarily a bad one.
Let's talk about the banks, because this sector captured about $7.55 billion of that figure, nearly 73% of all the inflows. Would you say that it's a healthy sign of financial sector confidence, or it still shows us the narrowness that should concern policymakers? The banks, of course, will be happy about that, but doesn't that show us some kind of narrowness that we should be able to expand?
It is more of narrowness, actually, because when you see the banking sector, the financial services sector accounting for 96% of the imported capital, it has a meaning. The meaning is that the oil and gas sector has little or nothing.
Yes, the oil and gas sector got, I think, $460,000, just for $60,000 in Q1.
Extremely small.
Very small.
Extremely small.
Yes.
Extremely small. The manufacturing sector, the same thing. The agri sector, the same thing. And we are looking for the economy to grow, substantially at a sustainable basis over the medium to long term. So this is, a narrowness, and it calls for concern, and it is something that, the regulators, the government, the authorities have to focus on and see how we can have a bit of a more diversification over time. If we have a target of like a 10-year period or 20 years, to ensure that what flows into the country in terms of capital importation is not more than like 50 or 30%, traceable to the financial services sector, and we have about 20-30% or even 50% of it going to oil and gas, going to the power sector, going to the agri sector, going to the manufacturing sector. You will see that there will be a remarkable change in the country in terms of our level of infrastructure, in terms of job creation, in terms of consumption pattern of Nigerians, and the volume also of consumption. I think these are the areas that the government should be looking at. And I believe that the Ministry of Investment, Trade and Investment, and the Ministry of Finance should be looking in these directions to see what can the country do to elevate the situation and make it a better one.
For a country that has built its entire economy on the sale of crude oil for years, and for this quarter, like I mentioned earlier on, $460,000 was what came in for the oil sector. I need us to interrogate that further. What does this say about the investment case in Nigeria's energy sector? We're having a Dangote refinery now. These figures we're talking about is Q1. And I'm actually surprised that we are not seeing more investment in that area. There are other refineries also coming up, apart from Dangote refinery, for example. Is it that the foreign capital is viewing that space as, how are they viewing that space right now?
They are viewing it positively, but they are not coming.
They are cautious.
They are not just cautious. A couple of them have exited. Don't forget that the likes of Mobil, the likes of Shell, or some other major players in that sector exited some of their oil fields, and they sold them to local investors such as Seplat. They sold this to local investors such as Aradel. So what we are seeing in that sector is more of local investors stepping up and taking up the investments that were left by the foreign investors in the country. So you are not going to see an increase in foreign direct investment or coming into the oil and gas space anytime soon. It is more of an exit for them. What we expect to see, and which we currently are already seeing, is more local investors in that space coming up, springing up, and increasing their share of investment in the sector. That is what we most likely are going to continue to see over the medium to long term.
We've seen that the UK accounted for about 49% of the inflows. The US contributed, I think, about 30.7%. So these two countries, the UK and the US, explain for about 80% of the inflows that we saw in Nigeria's foreign capital in Q1. How exposed does that concentration leave us?
There is a high level of concentration in that regard, but the reality actually is, if you look around the world and you look at the largest money managers in the world, or let me say, you look at the most sophisticated
financial capitals
countries in the world, you will find that it is
in the US and the UK. Yeah.
So that is the reason that we are seeing the bulk of investments coming from the US, coming also from the UK to the Nigerian markets, because they are, largely speaking, foreign portfolio investments. And we are benefiting from those investments in the area of foreign exchange stability. So that is one key thing to bear in mind. We have that concentration, no doubt, but the reality actually is that we cannot get a lot more from other countries, because other countries are not as sophisticated as the US and the UK when you talk about capital market investments.
Okay. I think, Tajudeen, we'll leave it at that, because I have another interview that will be looking at the quality of life of Nigerians. On one hand, we're talking about foreign capital coming in. We talked about all sector getting a paltry sum of $460,000. I think agriculture, $37 million, ICT, $11 million. Manufacturing received about $152 million. Very modest for a country that wants to be productive, that wants to employ its young population. These numbers should be better. But thank you very much thank you very much for coming in this morning. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I've been speaking with Tajudeen Ibrahim, who is the Director of Research and Strategy at Chapel Hill, Denham. Let's move into the next topic. Like I mentioned, how do we assess the quality of life in Nigeria? Okay. Let me take a break. When we come back, we'll continue the program, and I'll bring in my guest to stay. All right, David Olujimi is a financial analyst with SBM Intelligence. Hello, David. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Good morning. I can hear you. Yes, SBM's report, of course, you work with SBM. Your report, I've read the report, and it challenges the conventional assumptions. David, can you hear me? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I can hear you loud and clear.
It challenges the assumptions about where Nigerians enjoy the best quality of life. I'm surprised about some of your findings. Because if you even ask an average Nigerian, where the quality of life, they may say, okay, perhaps Rivers there with Kano. but people will talk about, some other states. So speak to us about this report and the findings of SBM. Just 1 minute, no, less than 1 minute, then we'll interrogate further.
So it's a perception report. It's a perception index. We surveyed our respondents in 8 states in the country, and from these 8 states, we asked them questions on different things, questions on where they are likelihood to relocate, how they perceive the environment to be, the lived environment they are in right now, how they perceive it to be. We touched on many areas of such, and we surveyed about 8 states, ensuring that we touch all the geopolitical zones in the country. So what we are seeing, right, the report we are getting is a report based on a perception index. So when you begin to look through the report, you begin to go down and break, you begin to understand that the way people perceive the environment to be is quite different from state to state. So in a state like Lagos, you have a very high percentage of people that say they would like to relocate. Meanwhile, in a state like Kano or Oyo, we say that a lot of people are very satisfied. In a state like Cross River, there's not a lot of satisfaction. So it was a perception index. It's not based on, so the quality of life ranking was based on how the people in those places perceive the quality of life they are living right now to be. And it was majorly within the urban areas, and we touched on all the incomes, all the class categories of incomes, the upper high income people, the middle income people, and the low income people. But it was majorly a perception index across the urban regions.
Why I said I was surprised is ahead of cities like Lagos and Abuja. Because you want to say, yes, you see people in other states, they'll be like, oh, okay. You see people, perhaps even in the rural areas, where do you want to live? Okay, I want to go to Lagos, I want to go to Abuja. I want to go to
one thing you discover is that when there's a part of the report we did not dwell extensively on, likely to relocate. What city are you likely to relocate to? Okay. The number one amongst our respondents was Abuja. So discover that a lot of people who stay in Lagos actually want to go to Abuja.
Oh, they want to relocate? Really? Because when I speak with those Lagosians, they'll be like, oh, Abuja is too slow for us. So they say, I like my husband also.
So the thing is, it all depends on the kind of people you are speaking to. Like I said, we review people across different income classes.
That's a valid point.
An average person who stays in some of these places, when you speak to a lot of them, you discover that people actually would like to live where they are right now. But you can't just up and leave. You have to be smart in your decision making.
Okay. From your report, Kano ranked first for the quality of life, yet last for income. Over 31% of your respondents earn less than 100,000 naira a month. How do you reconcile at that? And what does this tell us about what families actually value?
Exactly. So now there's an introduction you gave in the beginning where you said something around the fact that a lot of you made a statement around the fact that beyond income, there are a lot of things that people are now looking out for when it comes to where to live. So if you look at our reports, you discover that when it comes to the level of satisfaction, in our reports we discover that people with the highest level of satisfaction were the people in Oyo, then Kano followed. Only 2% of people in Oyo State probably were of the opinion that they would like to live. So income is quite important, right? But one thing this report really highlights is the fact that beyond how much another thing that we also pay attention to is the fact that a lot of the people that we surveyed were workers with private enterprises. So the point I'm making is that beyond how much people earn, there's a lot that the governments of those states have to do in the sense of helping people actually have a better sense of life, like helping people feel satisfied in this community. So power, electricity is a big deal. The quality of living, quality of markets, access to childcare, access to health care. These are factors that actually determine for a lot, especially for family people, where they would like to live. You discover that it's much more than, so like when you look at it now, look at the report. people who stay, in fact, of all the people surveyed in Cross River, nobody earns lower than 100,000. Of all the over 100 people that were surveyed in Cross River, none of them earn less than 100,000. They were the second highest earners after Abuja. Over 23% of the people earn above 500K monthly. But yet, when it comes to the quality of life report, you discover that there was so much complaint on the fact that the quality of living.
That also surprised me. Yes, that surprised me in Cross River. Yes.
The urban environment. There's a lot of complaints about the urban environment, the state of the roads in the place. So people live in parts of like Calabar where there's really no roads. Like one of our respondents spoke to the fact that there's no road to his house. The point that even a wheelbarrow cannot move.
So during the rainy season now, it will be difficult to navigate.
So factors like that. No matter how much person like that earns, it becomes a big challenge in the sense. It becomes a challenge that you start to reason. Another state that we noticed for our people that stay in Cross River, many of them indicated the likelihood to move to Uyo, which is just neighboring Cross River State. So there's a lot of factors. One of the things that we learned from this report is that though Abuja earns, like you put on the screen, so income is quite important, but the governments of the states, I use Oyo as another example. A lot of people feel satisfied in Oyo State, not because everything is rosy and fine in Oyo State. So, but prior to all of this, prior to this kidnapping incident, the state was basically up, and there's been a lot of sentiment around the fact that the government is trying to put some things in order. People, if you stay in Lagos now, a lot of people are expressing sentiments of I'd really like to relocate to Ibadan because there is a perception about the place. So one thing that governments can always do with the places that they govern is always try to improve the quality of living, try and build the roads, make markets better, cleaner cities. Cleaner cities are a big deal for Nigerians in such a way that just being in a cleaner city really. So when you look through these reports, you discover that northern cities have a higher people who stay in the northern cities like Kano, Bauchi, Abuja, they express a higher level of satisfaction with the places they stay in. And it's because of things as basic as cleaner cities. Very, very basic things that it's beyond. I know that when you stay in a state like Lagos, everything, your brain begins to revolve around the income, how much money, how to navigate the area. So people will literally move from a city like they'll literally live in a place like some can live in as far as Ojo or Janiki and go as far as Lekki to work because of income. Nobody that lives that kind of life is satisfied with that kind of life, if we're going to be as sincere as we can be.
Exactly.
So there is a lot of metrics around how people live their lives. So basically it's wide range, and the governments also have. I was saying on a different platform about the fact that the governments have a lot of role to play in the macroeconomics of their states. Everybody looks at the federal government when it comes to the economy, economic perception, what's inflation saying, the price of goods in the market, and all of that. But